curb often has a lot to do with that there. Here's the Repco replay. It'll tell us more of the story. Yeehaw for Brodie. He's clamped the brake, which was a smart play, but it may have hurt the tyres as it's come back on there, although it was at low speed at that point. But he's managed to wrestle that to a stop. Just come in and we'll have a think about whatever was going on there. Oh, no. Trouble for Will Brown after a tremendous start in this practice session, and that's a big crunch in the right front corner. Out the other side of the dipper. Red flag. How quickly it happens up there, so this angle won't fully show it.
Gets that.
Yeah.
So he's
it does actually. It does. It's done a beautiful job of explaining it. So just by turning into shallow there, it just punches the car off to the left, and you see how quickly it went back to the other side of the road. And that's going to be rail damage, and there's going to be a lot of ancillary equipment that's taken a bruise there.
And what you've got to do now is just press the reset button, go back in there, have a deep breath, and get back on with life once they repair that car.
So we hope that the cosmetic stuff looks worse than what's really happened structurally. This is the reason why we had the red flag and the reason why you're looking at that damaged car. Watch what happens here on the left at the dipper. So brushes the wall on the inside, ricochets across to the outside of the road, makes pretty heavy right front contact, and then does the good thing there where he just grabs the gear and waddles it out of the way.
Right, you were just doing normal road numbers before as LeBrock has a rotate there in the truck assist Mustang. But we were talking about normal road speed. Pie off in the same. Might be something on the road down there.
I was about to say that's something weird happening there. 3 people in a row in that same spot. Head of engineering now is Richard Holway. He was with Gary Rogers Motorsport for many years. He was with Mark, my colleague, for a long period of time. Here's the replay of what happened to Scott Pye. And couldn't stop the DeWalt car. He had a big lock-up down there. It makes me think something odd was on the road there to see 3 in a row consecutively. Jack LeBrock, and we actually, as the camera was panning to the right there, you could see James Courtney off in the distance. Looked like he had a bit of a wriggle going there as well. Session. Oh, Macaulay Jones. So 2 of the Brad Jones racing cars in strife in this session. That's well buried at the beach.
Yeah, you're not going to get that one out. That's very deep. There we go. Here's the replay. So we looked at Percat, who was already off the road, but Macaulay never looked like stopping there, did he?
He had a people pace going. So Nick Percat was having his own moment as well. So he got it onto the grass on the exit of the chase. Meantime, Macaulay's gone through there full-blown motocross style. Car number 34 is Jake Kostecki on screen. He's down in 21st position at the moment in the Matt Stone Racing Unit Commodore, sitting on a 2:07.2. And there's a lot of understeer here that results in a little kiss in the right rear corner of that concrete wall, and they do not give. We're in a conversation.
Speaking of vibrating cars, I think there's a problem for the 7.
Yeah, Matt Campbell's, I think, has clouded the wall up the top of the hill. In fact, he's got no steering control because the left front's completely at odds with the proper direction of where that car ought to be going.
It's all good. It's all good. Just leave it there, please. Leave it there. We'll wait till you get back.
Here's what happened. So he's glided up to the wall, and as he's caught it, it's actually steered around its own front wheels at Sulman Park, just on the run to the top of the mountain. Here's the other view. And it just goes to show how on the night...
Hard luck. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
So here's a replay from above on Conrod Straight, and that front left is in a real state there, and then it's just fired across to the right-hand side of the road and hit the wall.
It must have dug in. I mean, it's so strange.
Right front.
Oh, gee, it was nasty as it kicked over that little ditch. Gee, it locked late.
And it locked the wrong side of the car.
Oh, that's nasty.
But you're still trying to get it across. It come from not actually being able to get it back to the right-hand side of the road early enough. So he was clearly very deep under brakes. And have a look at that reaction there. The back of the car's 3 foot in the air.
So that will have ingested a pile of gravel into that air intake at the front. And all. So we're getting a real form guide here. And oh, nasty moment for David Russell. He's flown into the gravel at the bottom of the chase down there at incredibly high speed, and he's searching for the grass verge.
All right, so there you're out. Just bring it round, we'll clean it out. Bring it around, we'll clean it out. There's something broken.
obvious there, but again, it might have broken a bottom pin and a wishbone on the front upright. It got quite unstable through the right-hander, and you can see it buffeting around. So for sure something is, from a front suspension geometry perspective, something's affecting the linearity, the tramline effect of what that car's done in the braking area.
But at least he's out there, and yesterday there was some pretty long faces at one stage that he might not even be out there, and he's in a great battle at the moment with James Courtney, who's tangling with Andre Heimgartner. Will Brown is actually going to benefit beautifully. Big profit from that one, straight down the inside. So that gets him up into the top 10 now in the WD-40 entry, car number 9.
So the thermal cycling makes the rear too efficient. Watch this now. Blocks the rear right there, bumps into Heimgartner, and Will Brown says, thank you very much.
This is the view from James' car. He's on the dirty side of the road, makes the corner tighter here as well, and he's trying to outbrake him. You stitch all that together, and that's the outcome. So a bit of frustration there for James Courtney, and you can probably include Erebus.
Oh, in the fence. Is that Anton or Anton in the fence on the right-hand side at the cutting? He's hit the fence on the way in. I'm sorry, folks, I was a little bit behind. I was actually looking down for lap times, and I looked back up.
Car boards and flags.
And this is going to be a double stack scenario that Neil was just referring to.
There were a couple that also just ducked in strategically. One of the beneficiaries of that will be David Reynolds. And there's the view from the Century Chopper, battery chopper, and you can see what's happened there to Anton. So he's just given that wall a huge whack, and then just quite rightly gets it off to the left-hand side of the road to try and make as much space as possible.
He had no one else involved in this incident. He's done that all by himself.
When you hear that in the background, that's brutal, isn't it? The other one that came in early, remember, was Bryce Forward in the Middies car.
Yeah. But it's a very easy spot to make a mistake. I mean, we've seen Peter Brock there, we've seen Jamie Whincup there, we've seen Larry Perkins there, we've seen so many of the superstars of our sport crash in that area, and it just got away from him. The little kink, it's more of a corner than you think, and the kink is actually part of the braking area. So as soon as he got slightly wide, he was sideways, he couldn't get the car back over to the left, and once he got into that...
I heard somebody with tyres well and truly on fire in the background, so we'll follow that up here for you on the Repco replay. That was the sound, and that is what it looked like. So Andre Heimgartner, Ned Whiskey, Mustang, Kelly Grove Racing. Oh, that's actually, big chance he'll get done for a dangerous re-entry on that one. Well, he certainly checked him up, and he probably loses a spot here. Well, not probably. He does lose a spot to James Courtney in the process. So that's definitely going to catch the eye of Motorsport Australia Race Control and the Driving Standards Advisor. And he got a dangerous re-entry penalty and a tour through the pit lane for his trouble.
Previous cars, so there's a lot of stuff going on up and down the pit lane at the moment.
I tell you, this little bit of cloud cover and maybe a shift in temperature has lit things up because... monstrous shunt for Slade. So Slade has whacked the wall big time at the top of the mountain, and he's ripped the side out of that Mustang. He's got it off the road, but Slade has binned that thing. Whoa, that is one nasty shunt. So what I was about to say is there's about 6 cars out there that have suddenly done personal bests. So the fairy tale just turned into a nightmare. And Tim Slade has made monstrous contact with the wall at the top of the hill, in much the same place that Mostert came unglued in 2015. And he is filthy with himself.
Didn't see... I think they're going to keep going because the car's in a safe spot there on the inside, coming on the dead side of the road.
And see what happened here. Oh, got away from him when he fed it the gear. So as he put his foot on the brake and fed it a gear, it's jumped sideways. And by the time we pick it up, it's on its way to a 45-degree angle shunt on the outside of the road. And that has destroyed the left-hand side of that car. After a great pressure battle all afternoon and keeping Will Davison honest. Now, that's heartbreaking. Here it is from above. Watch the back of the car skip, bang, over in a heartbeat.
Now, there's got to be some debris on that little downhill section. It's the only reservation I've got about not having a genuine look. Have a listen. It's a cruel sport, isn't it? Seriously, we're talking. How's the reaction?
Brendan Hogan, a lot of emotion in that. He knows how much pain's involved in trying to resurrect that vehicle now. How they do that? Oh, Courtney's come unglued. Courtney's whacked the wall. So the cutting claims another victim. Now we may see, oh, he stalled it. We may see a safety car here. He's got it mobile once again.
Oh.
So double yellows, massive damage. That car's going nowhere when he gets it back to the pit. This will be a carbon copy of what happened to Anton yesterday, and similar to what Jamie did in October. Best part of 400 or 500 metres in front of him. We're picking up James Courtney. Here's what happened. Same deal. Oh, and that one wiped all around the outside wall. Here it is again. Ran wide in the marbles. And that's largely cosmetic, but there's no way you can race that car.
Was it going in the fence before he fed it second gear? Was it already going in, or did that make it worse?
I reckon he was past the crown.
Yeah.
So he was actually to the right of the white line. Not easy to say.
Yeah.
So I think he was very wide. 7.5. That's pretty quick. And Brodie Kostecki dived to the inside when it didn't look like it was going to work, and surfed across the curb, right across the racetrack. Check this out.
I have not seen that.
Full-blown Dukes of Hazzard there, 4 wheels off the deck, and then he's managed to catch it, grab the brake again to be able to steady it to get it back on.
So you'll see here in behind, so that's in behind Mark Winterbottom. Off the road goes Davison, trying to get back on, and here comes Jamie. He moves it over, but Whincup's got enough momentum to get down the inside relatively easily. Different methods, as we see, forward, rotated. That's in the spot where Garth's standing, so that's a spin at turn 4.
Exit of turn 3, the curb's wet. But that was just a pure pitch thing where the car pitched, lost the rear tyre and spun it, and luckily kept the car off the tyre barrier at the mid-corner of 4. But we're talking about junk on the track now.
Of the major players to put an indicative time down. Less sunlight now. Off the road a long way, Jack Smith down at Dandenong Road, and this will be red flag.
Handback sets of tyres that ultimately, inside front locking is the normal deal down there. Jack couldn't stop it and has gone off. He tried to gas it up and get it out the other side, but it didn't work. So tyre management, Mark, leading to that story is a bit of a challenge this weekend because there are fewer tyres deliberately available.
And nice respect with Mark Winterbottom and Cam Waters through that little zone there. They did a good job to get 2 cars through. Oh, Jack Smith off the road. And another bit of bump and grind. So that's the explanation. So you were looking at it before.
A lot going on here in the foreground and the background. You need to look in every direction here. So it's down the back of the field where the trouble begins here. So look for the Middies car. You see that Jack Smith's off the road. Bryce Fullwood is sliding. Gary Jacobson goes down the inside, and they made contact, and it fires Bryce into the weeds.
If you're Chas Mostert, if we look back at Heimgartner down the inside with Davison, Perkak gets through. How's the amount of mulga that has been attracted in the front of the car? 17.
So he went back out there with younger tyres. This was Will Davison, who shot through the margin between turns 3 and 4 and picked up kilos of dirt in the front of that car. In unusual places. Jake Kostecki's gone hunting off in the gravel down here, and he's going to stay there.
Yeah, my throttle was stuck on.
Throttle stuck. 2 of the worst things, throttle stuck or the brake pedal falls on the floor. 2 of those mechanical failures are the worst. There you go, you can see that. He couldn't stop the car. He did a good job to run it straight along that verge, and the sand trap did a really good job in terms of the safety effect. So he couldn't get a turn. He had throttle still on the car. He'd come off the throttle, went to apply the brake, and there was still some jammed throttle action going. And it may not be 100% throttle, but even if it's 10% throttle or 5%.
And Van Gisbergen's tipped it sideways in the area between turns 3 and 4. Now, if he triggers a red flag, that's a problem. So he's focused on getting reverse. That's what happened. We'll have a look at the replay. He's in behind Di Pasquale, and it was already cranked sideways over the curb at 2, trips over the turn 3 curb, and he's got it all clamped up and keeps it well off the wall. But had he not been able to back it out of there and triggered that red flag, it was a drama. Here's the replay. So it's skated on the rear brake. He's full steering lock to the left. He's already grabbed first gear. Only just gets away with that one. Further afield, it's in fifth, Courtney, then Heimgartner, Davison. Winterbottom, Dick Pasquale, Scott Pye's just moved up, and we've got trouble here for Reynolds on the exit of 4. Pointing in the wrong direction, gathers it back up. There's probably more to that story.
In front of the Red Bull Ampol Commodores.
So Tim Slade and David Reynolds.
Double
tap. And around he went. And then there was this moment we focused on as well. So that started a bit earlier for Mark Winterbottom. It slid sideways on him at turn 6, and then he didn't get the pace off it by the time he got down to the bottom of the hill and ran it wide, kept the throttle up and was able to get out there as to what the grip levels may be. So lots of people battling, and I didn't see this one either. So this is Jack LeBrock pointing in the wrong direction. And it looks like it might have plucked an oil line or something off a Corley Jones car, so it looks very unhealthy, and he parked it off to the inside between turns 1 and 2. In fact, Jamie's done the fastest middle sector split, which is the run down the back straight. Has he got it done this time? He plummets down there.
Got to be contact.
He's got him. Oh, he's rotated him. These two have got together yet again, but this time he redresses beautifully, Mostert, but they're going to lose positions. They're going to lose positions to Heimgartner. What a crazy moment in the race. Waters gets away with it. Heimgartner, here's the replay. So he bombs it down the inside and then tries to squeeze up on the curb. Didn't quite get it right. Tags Cam, they rotate. Chaz knows what's happened. He's cleared the throttle to try and avoid a penalty. Slows it right down, but have a look at the Marauders in the background that are about to get into the party here. So you've got Heimgartner, you've got Whincup, they're in here. So Andre splits them, and now Whincup's right in this as well. So just a couple of laps remaining as we look at the replay, and it's an 11-second margin now, Van Gisbergen to Waters. How is that for a moment?
Was he up far enough? I reckon he was almost up far enough to have been all right, wasn't he, Mostert? Here we go.
Find out.
Oh, hard one to tell, isn't it?
It's a hard one.
Yeah. Now, Craig Baird's going to say no penalty, play on.
David Reynolds drops into third position, then Will Davison in fourth, side-by-side action. Heimgartner in there as well with Mark Winterbottom, and it is crazy wet in the mid-pack. There's no grip out there and next to no visibility.
Mostert off. So that's Chaz who made contact there with Scott Pye, and rotation there for James Courtney. So I don't know whether he got bumped from behind, but he's had a little spin there between turn 3 and 4.
Winterbottom, Dick Pasquale, Waters and Brown is your 10.
Oh, off the road goes Davison. He parks in the middle of the road. Kostecki gets by. Nice presence of mind. So does Heimgartner. Oh, and he spin it on. That spin almost wiped out his teammate. So up the inside was Anton Di Pasquale.
Sneaks on by into second place. So that car's actually quick at the moment of Reynolds. As you said, 19.9 best lap. Last lap for him was almost the same as Shane's. And how about this one? Save of the century. Unbelievable for Will Davison. He manages to not only not hit anything as he rotates, barely able to save it, grab the throttle to stop it going any further, and then as he got on with it, he almost headbutted his teammate in Anton Di Pasquale, who had to take to the grass on the inside. Can't have the fact that, this is not good. Tim Slade right rear missing. Now that'll trigger a penalty for them for not sending that car.
Okay, red flag, red flag. We've got a car stop
in a proper state, and that's the Motorsport Australia race director Tim Schenken on the radio throwing a red flag now, and there is the 20-odd kilos of the control wheel. A new group of people have been assembled and put together. Here's the replay of what happened. The Repco replay will show us that the right rear is well and truly parted company and set off on its own tour of northern Tasmania. And they were so fast at Bathurst, and then late in the game, unfortunately, he whacked the wall up at the top of the hill, but made a big statement about pace and competitiveness.
And the way you've got to try to stop the car at the hairpin, that's a massive two-wheel moment there for Macaulay. That's way too much inside curb. That would have been a spook for young Jack this weekend, and that's good for his confidence and good for Brad Jones Racing. Oh, there you go. There's the commentator's curse, Croppo. Sorry about that. I should text Bradley and say sorry about that. So Waters and Whincup almost exactly the same. Young Will Brown was able to get to the inside. Right in behind him is Will Davison. Now Ken Van Gisbergen, who tries to force car 97 down the inside of 17. He's been turned. There's contact there with Jack LeBrock. He's also gone into the fence on the right-hand side. So Di Pasquale's been turned by LaCroix. Oh, who was that off on the right-hand side there?
Well, that was at very high speed. I think he got back on, whoever it was. You got Waters with 0.2 of a second margin over Whincup. Then Brown's gone to third. Van Gisbergen's moved up into fourth. Then it's Davison.
Oh, it's going to be a monster.
James Courtney and Jack Smith in trouble down here at turn 2. Now, yesterday I talked about the fact that it's normally a frantic lap 1 where things go wrong. Nothing happened yesterday, and then it was all on, I think it was LeBrock that made contact with Anton, it was, and around he went because he also had, LeBrock had Winterbottom in behind him. And then as this was all sorting out, here we are now with Winterbottom.
So what's Heimgartner's on your right? What's this?
Oh.
Bang.
Okay. Explains a bit more of it, but who was it that two at the paddock?
He's doing 1,000,000 miles an hour to the right. Yeah, it's Kostecki.
Jeez, that's high-speed potato farming, that one.
You're not wrong.
Oh. So Jake LeBrock crossed up with Andre Heimgartner on the exit of the hairpin. And you could see on the replay in the background, Fabian also coming in. Oh, James had a monster moment there. I didn't realise how big that was. It was Macaulay Jones and the Coke car that sent he and Jack Smith off into the weeds down there. Look at this. So Courtney at right angles to the direction of the traffic. And what a save.
That was a great
That's going to go in the save of the day bucket, that one.
Yep, that certainly is. He was on full opposite lock, over the rise, totally sideways. Gary
Jacobson, I made mention of him before. Little engine upgrade for him this weekend, but that's the least of his concerns at the moment. Power. Bit of grip wouldn't go astray for him as he wanders wide. Where's he sitting at the moment? He's in 16th position. Go to the Ripco replay and have a look at what happened to Cam Waters.
Sprint car.
How's that? It's a 150-metre slide in the dirt and then full lock up to run wide at the other end, so he couldn't get the pace off it either.
This is a 49.9, only 0.3 of a second away. What a slide. That's the best slide we've seen all weekend by a mile. Does he hang on to it? Does he hang on to it? No. Oh, how good would that be if he saved it?
How your perspective changes. If I showed you a replay of you doing that at some stage, you would not describe it as the best slide you've ever seen. Poor James Courtney in strife here. And it actually rattled itself off the top of the curb, and then that put him out onto the outside curb, and then there was no coming back. He's on the lock stops. It's actually made dust out there.
Do you know what Jim Richards used to say? He said, it just didn't have enough lock.
You did a lot more than that.
This has the potential to hurt Di Pasquale. So think about the difference from last session. Whincup and Van Gisbergen, who are 13th and 16th.
Big lock up again at this...
off the road. That's a hard corner, isn't it? Everyone's struggling with it.
That might be a challenge.
It looks like he's just going to get out. Oh, that's lucky. Red flag there. You're over and out.
Yeah.
So cars that were second and fourth have gone to first and second.
Oh, Mossop ran wide, and he's relinquished the lead as a result of it. So Chaz got in strife across the water there, and Heimgartner will get down the inside. And now, in fact, we've got a moment up the front, and Anton's gone wide down there as well, and he's dropped a bunch of places in that process.
On board now with Andre. Have a look at this. So big moment there for Mostert. Anton fires down there. He's too deep. He's the pioneer. He doesn't know how much grip there is. Certainly not enough at that speed to turn left. This is the camera shot that we had as the car exited. That's very close. Scott Pye on wets. There's only 3 beneficiaries.
Go.
Being brave. Did he get out? There's a little bump.
Go on the lane.
And it's continuing. There we go. So 1 out, 1 in.
I'm standing in pit lane and it's raining on my head. So these guys will all, if it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, probably quacks like a duck because there's clouds everywhere, it's raining.
Motorsport Australia race control.
Check this out. This is wild.
Oh, I thought he was going to get Jamie for sure. Oh. And so did he, I reckon, for a moment. You're going to have to do it by the seat of your pants. Bryce Forward tangled up in a little moment down there as well.
This is where Jack Smith gets escorted off by the look. Yep. So that's what happened there. Jack LeBrock out in a weird zone there. So there's been a little bit of...
But then when I saw where Jamie stopped, that wasn't the issue, so I knew something had gone wrong. Oh, Macca's gone off the road in the Coke entry, and he's not going to save that one. So that's costly right at the moment, out of fourth position, and it might take a while to be able to get that back.
It's a lucky dip to get to where he is. He's done a remarkable job.
Paul,
here we go.
for car two has a 5-second time penalty, a 5-second time penalty for a pit lane infringement.
Okay, so that's Bryce Fullwood's got 5 seconds. What have we got here on the Repco replay? Worry when I see people off the racing line down there. This explains what happened between Kurt Kostecki and Jake Kostecki. That was awkward. And I reckon Jake might potentially have a little bit...
They got around there really nicely. There was the slightest little touch. And you see Andre Heimgartner now trying to position himself down the inside of Slade. Slade's in the mulga, and Waters is gone.
It was Mostert and Waters that made contact as a result of Slade. So Slade ended up in the dirt, and Mostert and Waters have got together again. It's a secondary impact, and there's big damage on the right rear of the Monster Energy car. That's unbelievable. The whole right rear corner of that car is now completely flying apart. So for Waters, it'll be back into the lane. Macaulay Jones as well, and they're not going to turn that car around in a hurry.
So we were talking about that left-hand front hanging out of Mostert's car also.
Let's have a look at the replay of what happened here back at the start. So, Slade runs wide as a result of Heimgartner down the inside. As Mostert jumps to the left, he tags Waters, who rotates off into the other side of the universe.
Aggression from Heimgartner. Have a look at that contact and the force. Have a look at how much damage it did to the right rear. So the...
Oh, okay, now I understand what happened to Percat.
I couldn't work that out either. So watch this. The aggression from Heimgartner down the inside of Slade. Slade comes back on, bang. And the sort of secondary effect for Mostert and Waters. This is Mark Winterbottom.
That's Percat to the left with David Reynolds just in front. And so they all check up. At one stage, they were 4 wide down here. And Brodie was also right down the inside as well. And, yeah, there's Brodie and Shane.
Who got him? Because was it Reynolds who got him? Someone turned Percat around.
That was teammates.
Yeah, that was teammates.
Matt Stone Racing then as well. As we're trying to unravel who did what to who. Thomas Randall, they've done an amazing job. Now, this is all the way back to lap 1. We're riding with David Reynolds. This is the wild stuff that was happening down there. And bang, it was Brodie, I think. It was a boost car down the inside. It was either Brodie or James. And then it all happens in a flash. Look at that. Try and pick a line. Yeah, it was Brodie. So this is Shane. Right, so it was Reynolds into Percat.
At turn 5, so sort of tried to bleed in behind him, but then got a hit from the rear, which sort of sent me off, and then not completely off the track, but wide, and then lost a position out of that, and then, yeah, whatever happened after that. Yeah, Cam got turned around and then across the front.
Conditions to be able to get back on that racetrack. I've seen a few people wide this weekend and getting out into the grass. So that margin from first to third at the moment is now down to 1.1 seconds, and it's half a second between Will Davison and Shane Van Gisbergen. I called it 1 second not long ago. So he's on him now.
There's no margin there. You can't get down the inside for 7. It's Hazelwood off the road. Damage on the back for the Brad Jones Racing Commodore. Now, that might have been contact with
his own teammate there as well. So this explains what had happened with Todd Hazelwood and Fabian Coulthard. They've interlocked down there on the run to turn 3. Nick Percat was just in front. And Di Pasquale pops out the other side. Waters down the inside of Whincup. He's ideally positioned now for turn 3, and he's done it. Waters up to second. And we've got a problem for Will Brown in the grass.
And it might also be that they've chosen purposely to run the tyre pressures a little lower, doing all turnaround there. So that was Randall, and in fact, it's actually got popped the tyre. So it may not have actually even had contact. So punctured rear tyre. It's a cruel game, isn't it?
So that's the replay of Will Brown down at turn 2. I'm trying to tune into the Di Pasquale conversation as well, and that's shed that left rear tyre.
It's the whole carcass of that tyre basically off the wheel there now. Very used-looking Dunlop. And a bump. Heimgartner, he might be in a little bit of strife with that one. I don't know whether he was up far enough. He's up there quite a long way by that stage, but also Frosty was turning down. It's a late apex for that corner.
The circuit.
So just cast your mind back if you weren't with us. Oh, bonnet up. So is that Kostecki wildcard, or is that forward? It's forward. Yeah.
Look underneath the bottom of the windscreen, at the bottom of the windscreen, underneath the bonnet, but I would say the team has told him to stop. They don't want to damage that bonnet, and red flag comes out straight away. So a bit of an anticlimactic start to the session. Everyone was just getting going.
Where you finally are able to put your foot on the brake. There's Anton off the road. And that's a big off, because it's a long way off.
It's a long way off.
Yeah.
And the thing that got my attention, we had that onboard lap from Will Davison.
Every time, off the road, Will Brown. That's the same spot. He's been able to turn it around, but he was actually going against track direction when he did that. He was going the wrong way.
Where are you going, Will? Yeah, that's the exit of turn 5 now on the run up to the hairpin. See a replay here. We'll just catch Will. Yeah, loses the rear on entry, too wide, misses the turn-in point, and then off into the grass, do a bit of lawn mowing. And how good does that grass look? So Will will get a bill for that. Don't mess up Darwin's beautiful green grass. And then, yeah, grabs the brakes, doesn't want to come back online there. Pitches the car down. No harm, no foul. Yeah, you can see the rear's gone before he comes into shot. And then around she goes.
Will Anton be able to get to the first corner first? He wheels it away nicely, but so does Frosty. He missed a gear. Frosty missed a gear. And on the inside comes Van Gisbergen now. That was a beautiful start to begin with, but he wasn't able to continue it on. Shane dives straight down the inside. Can he hold on to it?
Oh, here we
He's
go.
been hit. Pies turned him around. That is absolute chaos. Anton gone. They've all crashed into each other. Wow, what a start.
Wow. It started right at the start. Mark Winterbottom didn't really launch second phase of the start. The car wouldn't go. There he is. He's parked up. He's got caught up in it as well. This will bring the BP Ultimate Safety Car for sure. There's cars everywhere at turn 1. Shane Van Gisbergen up the inside. Big, big move. And look at the cars we have here.
They might even red flag this. There's cars everywhere. You can see Anton parked on the outside. Young Todd Hazelwood's parked in there in the Pizza Hut Commodore.
So let's just have a look at this one again. The Winterbottom one, he does a really good job, actually, gets himself out of the way. He was reporting that he had issues before we actually got racing. Van Gisbergen jinxed one way and then jinxed it. It's actually quite a nice move, very nice move. Then Pye, he looks for that hole, but then gets up on the inside curb at turn 1 on the entry, and that's upset his car. Got into Anton, and big, big damage to Anton Di Pasquale and Todd Hazelwood. Those boys will have the BJR team and Dick Johnson Racing. They'll have a lot of work ahead of them tonight to get those cars ready for tomorrow.
Good presence of mind by Frosty there, because he actually moved it out of the way. Once he knew that there was an ECU drama or electrical problem, he moved it away, which that was really clever. Have a look at the contact here with Mark Winterbottom onto the rear of Whincup, because that actually fired him off to the right. I didn't realise he had so much damage. So he's down in 19th. Now we're on board with Percat. Now he is a clean skin here. Watch this. Yeah. The world she opens.
Well, the world stops as well. So you, I can't brake any harder. Makes contact with the back of Pye, but the initial damage has already happened here. Van Gisbergen up the inside, a little rub, but then bang. That's a significant hit in the rear from Pye.
Those noises. You feel like you're there, don't you? Oh, they are bad.
Brings back bad memories, they do. The feeling and the sound you get. We'll pick it up here as we see Anton. He's stuck there, nowhere to go. Oh, look at Coulthard's car up. We're just saying what a great job both the team.
For LeBrock, fires from the left down to the right. Does he get in there clean? No.
Sort of see that one coming, I think, as LeBrock rejoins. You lose front grip. Here we go. We're on board with someone. Who are we on board with? Kostecki, Brody Kostecki. We need to see that. We need to see what happened there. Brody's now taking the shortcut.
Oh, mate, you go right.
This will be an interesting one. This is an interesting one. I don't think you can do that.
Might have a little bit of contact. Check this out. 2 Boost Mobile sponsored cars, and they come together. It's hard to know whether he was up far enough. It's a difficult angle.
We're looking from the back of Brody Kostecki's car. Courtney's going to go up the inside here. It doesn't really show us the attitude of Courtney's car. So this one, Craig Baird's going to have to pick out that initial contact.
Here we go.
Yeah. Listen. That one's not such great viewing for James Courtney. So we've got that initial contact.
3 positions.
Yep, certainly held up. Here we go. There's a replay now that we haven't caught. Kurt Kostecki into the back of Zane Goddard, running up into the hairpin at turn 6. And Goddard around. Let's see from the reverse angle. Kostecki trying to get up the inside and doesn't get it done, and just straight into the rear bumper of Zane Goddard. Craig Baird, our driving standards observer, will have a look at that one. He's got all the angles to cover it off, but when it's into the rear bumper like that...
Not afraid to use some muscle. And there goes Jack LeBrock in the Truck Assist Mustang.
How many cars have we seen in there over the weekend? In a popular spot, hasn't it? So this is Macaulay Jones. We're talking about what a qualifying job that was, and that was the end of his good qualifying job, because that's a full rotation. That's coming out of 6 up to 7, I think. Yes, it is. Yep. Yeah, lucky not to make the fence. Oh, he did, just slightly.
It was off the bumper of the local legends Commodore of Fabian Coulthard. And meanwhile, at turn 1, Jack Smith getting together. I think that was Brody Kostecki that got him as the pit window is open. Look at the difference between the 17 of Will Davison and Anton De Pasquale, who lost the better part of 5-6 seconds, but he's charged up to try and make it back, and now he's bowled a wide down at turn 1. It's unravelling for the Shell V Power Star.
He looks down the inside. He tries to get it stopped. He actually gave him a bump there, I think. We didn't see it totally, and now Jacobson just escorts him. So there's a little bit of a tit-for-tat show going on here. So now there's this bump. So he tries to do this. He pushes, bang, runs into him, runs him wide, and then says, I just might drive you into the mulga. Now, we'll get a good feel for what's going on. Hazelwood in to the back.
There we go, going to bang some doors here.
But it might be in the end. Oh, actually, Jack was able to miss him. That was a nice bit of driving. Bump. A little bump down, and you only need the slightest little bump under that scenario. Awkward on the way out, because the 2 cars were sort of on the wrong angle, and they just
easy to do. You need to trust the guy that you're going around the outside of. Jack Smith now looking up the inside of Zane Goddard.
Oh, he's giving him one.
Oh, just glances the wall. We often... No, that's done damage.
Yep.
Done damage to Goddard's car. You can see it's not tracking right. I'd say it's damage to rear toe link.
And this was the moment that we held our breath. A little bumping duel there with Jack Smith and Zane Goddard. He's probably up far enough by there. Zane tries to turn back in, because you don't really want to be out there in the marbles or out there in the grey. So we've got the front shot for you. Here's the 2 bumps that I spoke of, and then over that bump is where they've made contact, and then he tried to gather it. He followed the front wheels and ended up out there in those marbles.
Yeah, it's tricky enough to get the car through there when you're on line, when the tyres have gone away a little bit, but when you're out wider, then you need to be into the grey, into the marbles and dirt and junk. It's very sleepy. This will tell us a good story. Little contact, and then, yeah, it was a fair way up. See the guys just trying to look at it, and it's almost like it's a late decision. Yep, we'll rip it off, but sort of looking at it, yeah. And then, yeah, well, we better rip it off now, because he's driven over it. So, bit of miscommunication, I'd say.
13.7, so let's have a little look here. Right down the bottom of the shot, that was Macaulay going, and then Fabian, that was the contact with Fabian, who was into the back of Courtney and Scott Pye. Very clumsy.
And turn 13, what do we got here? Courtney Jones, getting really racy with the yellow cover Zane Goddard car. He's got a little bit nasty off the curb. Goddard fighting back. And that was...
Used tyres, not bothering him. We saw Hazelwood do it nicely last week. Goddard's laying down a good one here. Sideways through 12. Nice. Oh, no. Oh,
make the fence. Oh, I feel so sorry for him. He was up at that point. He's put his foot on the brake. He couldn't get it stopped. You can see those witness marks of the car sliding into the grass. And he missed the brake pedal, is what we're hearing over the radio. The way he got it turned. But this mistake, and he was probably too wide, a little bit out of 12. And then when he locked the inside front wheel, he did it in the previous segment, you called it. But once it made the grass, they do not decelerate. And heavy contact with the fence on the right-hand side. And this is the team reaction. Matt Stone, the team owner, right in the middle of shot. And that's what happens.
same reaction from the commentary box as well when we were watching that one, Mark. Real shame for the Matt Stone Racing guy.
Oh, and Tim Slade has lost a wheel, similar to what we saw in Tasmania. This is not the first time this has happened, and James Courtney's got dramas. And I wonder if that is oil slick induced as Mark Scaife arrives back in the commentary box. It is all happening.
Oh, can you believe that, Chad? Well, that is very strange. Left-hand rear wheel off the car for Slade, and that was the oil for sure for Courtney down there at turn 2. You can see the oil flags were out, the red and yellow stripe flags.
Van Gisbergen got Mostert. He's running it down the inside. So what I said about those guys going the outside hasn't worked. Brody Kostecki has come from a long way back, and that's cost Van Gisbergen. And there's drama at the back. Goddard got turned up by Winterbottom. We're still 3 or 4 wide for the run down to 3.
Lucky Van Gisbergen saw him coming. He saw him in the mirror and he moved it out. He purposely didn't turn in. Kostecki was going to make contact with him.
Oh, it's all happening in 3. It's all happening. Macaulay Jones has gone around. Rice forwards there. Dave Reynolds has been caught up. He's dropped well down the order. Kostecki and Van Gisbergen still doing it. Watch for the switchback. Wait for it.
Is he in there? Yes, he is. There's going to be a little bit of contact. There was just a little bump. He escorts him into the grass. That's a bit of mate chat, because he was not having any of it, Van Gisbergen. Now, there's Kostecki. Now, what shame. He purposely does not turn in.
Yeah, opened the steering wheel 100%. Saw that one coming. And then there was contact. Winterbottom on Goddard. Macaulay Jones at that point thought he got clear. We're about 8 wide there for the run-up. And then big contact. It was Fullwood that got the back of Macaulay Jones, and around he went. And then this one, Brody Kostecki on Todd Hazelwood. Yeah, it was front to rear contact like that, and Hazelwood
with some assistance.
And then this is on board with Brody Kostecki, so we'll have a good view of this. Van Gisbergen looking to go up the outside. Bang! And we jump into the boot of Todd Hazelwood's car. And Hazelwood's gone. And then Van Gisbergen up the inside of Brody Kostecki. And a little bit of contact, and then that final bump just sends Kostecki wide into the grass, and there's no grip out there.
Tried to pull that move on Kostecki right at the end of the braking zone for turn 2. On the outside, Davison. Does he keep it off the fence? He does. Nice job. Spin for Percat.
Oh, wow, they miss him. Make it stick at the exit of turn 2, but it's cool to see the aggression from the Northern Territorian. Oh, wow, great job, Jake Kostecki, to avoid Nick Percat.
Who gets him?
Coulthard was in there.
Was it Fabian?
There was definitely contact.
So this is a nightmare sometimes to get reversed. He's actually locked the front wheels, and then it's just bumped the fence on the left-hand side just gently, but then he knew that he couldn't turn it at the corner. He'd end up in that tyre bundle, and now he can't engage a gear.
Stay as close as you can to the boot lid of the Cool Drive Mustang. Oh, how do you hear him? You can hear it understeer. He lifted out of the throttle, the dirty air. It caught him out, and we're on board when it happened.
This might be a safety car because he can't steer the car.
Damaged the front. Yeah, look, it won't turn.
So as he's get across the bumps of Boundary Street, he's gone, bang, and that's hit hard.
He's actually really shallow on the entry too, so that ran him wide on the exit, and once he got into that dirty air and out into the marbles, then bang, heavy contact. We're on board here. Let's just listen. Yeah, you can hear him. He had to feather the throttle. The car started understeering, and then look, it's broken, it's shaking, it's all over.
And we have got the safety car. Will Davison actually got the best start of the lot, but he's not able to prevail. He's around the outside. In fact, he's right out in the dirt. Can he get down there, outside and around?
And ended up well in the weeds on a cold tyre. This one here, did he get a bit of help?
I don't think Will Brown needed to be on the inside of Di Pasquale there. So there's no contact at this point. Is there a bump now? Yes, there is a little one. Well done, young Crompo.
Gets away with it, Brody Kostecki, on a cold tyre and a dirty track. That could end poorly. And trouble here for Hazelwood. He climbs over the top of Tim Slade. And there's a bottleneck at the hairpin in the right-hander at turn 8. And they're all locking horns. It's a complete cluster of supercars, my goodness. Repco replay.
This is it. Now, this is Hazelwood. Remember?
Yeah, climbing up and over Tim Slade.
You're like being at the local bingo.
Be like running through lotto numbers. Look at this for a giant traffic jam. People going everywhere. Off in the weeds, throwing up gravel. 3 wide in places. Staggering. And it still went on when they got up to the other end of the circuit.
grass. Check this. That's seriously, that is not even anywhere near making the corner.
I've been watching with interest when we take the onboard shots. A wild moment also for Anton De Pasquale's run very wide down there. That's what it'll be. At the moment, I'm seeing on my phone 14. And at the same time, he was also doing a little brake bias change. And a worrying moment for Scott Pye down there at turn 1. That's the third off we've seen at turn 1. Hopefully they see him. Anybody that impedes.
Oh, no, there you go. Oh, he's in the fence. That was actually the wild card Thomas Randall who was in the way just then. So that's a fair initiation for both our wild card drivers.
Calm it down, we'll have another go in.
Look at this to understand what's going on. So you've got Thomas Randall. Lucky that wasn't heavy-duty contact firing him into that concrete wall on the left side. He got away with it, just killed some styrene signs down there. Changed the way things played here. Look at that. So Will Brown just keeps him high and wide. Van Gisbergen was trying to do the same with Will Davison. Already the two leaders had a margin, but look how wide they were down there at turn 2. Jacobson off. Jake Kostecki off. So around 28 seconds. What have we got happening down here? So Jack Smith getting all crossed up. He's getting some help in the process with Jake Kostecki down at turn 2, and the battle continued at 3. I think he might have actually given it the sort of race speed we saw last night was in the 31. So, and off the road. Cam Waters, well off the road, and it rotates.
And he'd be battling not to. Lucky that gravel trap is there.
Now, if that triggers a red flag, then he'll be effectively sin bin. As it looks like he might get out. Sometimes when it's wet, you can get a little bit of grip.
Try to rock it.
Spoken too soon here.
Try to rock it. That's close to coming out.
Red flag.
They've red flagged it.
Percat goes up 11 spots to 8th, and a massive moment off turn 1 there for Will Brown. He's in the same spot that we saw Cam Waters, but he's further into...
He gets dive bombed when they get down here to turn 2. You'll see the shell car arrive on the scene any tick of the clock. All right there.
Did you see it or feel it?
Both.
Whincup has been able to displace his teammate. Nice job, Jamie Whincup. Forward.
Those cars went wildly off to the outside at turn 3. There were two of them heavily buried, and one of them is Brody Kostecki. The other one
is James Courtney. The two boost cars are in the
fence. Look at the replay and see if we can unpack what's gone on here. So where are they? Okay, they're up on the left-hand side of frame here, and they've just gone off. At this point, there's no contact between them, so it's happened further back. And
yeah, they're gone.
Bang. So just the normal jostling that's gone on in a cold tyre, and everyone's into everyone down there at turn 2. And it's going to be brutal in the background for visibility.
Off the road, that's Van Gisbergen. That's off the road massively. Can he stop it before the fence? Yes, he does. Very lucky for Shane. And the amount of spray is unbelievable. Down the main straight, you will not be able to see. There's a spin down there for Macaulay Jones coming out of turn 5.
In 7th position, he's just made a move. Keeping an eye on all these minor placings. So what's gone on here? This might tell us a bit of the story about what happened with Kurt. That was the reason why Macaulay Jones was rotated. Now I understand. So they've had a look at that. Anton has scorched away. He's got fresh air. And now Whincup on the inside, and on the outside of him is Shane Van Gisbergen and Will Davison back and forth.
Oh, big spin there for Courtney. Can he keep it off the fence? He just slightly rubs the fence on the inside of turn 1. Deep on the rev limiter to get down the inside into 4. So what, I don't know who made contact there.
James is very lucky not to end up wearing that wall on the inside. Look at those blokes at the front of the field down the grey side. They made another lane that didn't exist.
So there's Slade and Courtney and Pye.
They interlocked.
Yeah.
So Pye and Courtney, former teammates, they've just interlocked wheels, and it's tripped James' car around, fired him left. And he was very lucky at that pace not to end up on that wall.
So let's have another look just back here. You just see to your left-hand side. Yeah, that was disappearing left. That wall would have been coming up at a rate. So he ended up controlling it pretty well. He flicked it to the right, and it skied along the wall just slightly. It actually just made gentle contact with the left-hand rear, but lucky to get away with that one.
They're doing 180 kilometres an hour. Oh, there's trouble there with something to do with the door seal on Will Brown's car as well. So there's been a bit of contact there, and there's something flailing. 3 wide at turn 8. LeBron on the
he's in the fence,
and he's managed to tag his teammate. Round goes Cam Waters. It's another bad news weekend, unfortunately, for Cam.
Rear wing, so a little bump there with Hazelwood. That's putting them wide.
Yeah, so it was the initial contact that actually triggered all of that. Now I understand a bit more about it.
But I think you'd find that, and why the this penalty's been applied, is that Jack could have come out of the throttle on the exit there and avoided that.
On board with Mark Winterbottom. See if we can unpack more of the story for you. So right there was when Hazelwood gave Waters a tap. Yeah, that's a bit unusual. To understand what they'll be.
Ooh.
Problem here for Jack Smith. Now, it's been very wet in Sydney this past week, and he's managed to gather that up. So that was on the left, Bruce Stewart. In the middle, Ryan Walkinshaw. On the right, Andrew Wiles. And that's what happened. Was that Luke Youlden on the back of Jack Smith? I think we caught the pen right. To our leaders, 0.4 of a second, the gap between Whincup and Van Gisbergen. Oh, big moment here for Zane. He dropped it off the right-hand side of turn 7, motocrossed through that bump, caught it and got back on.
That is the save of the weekend by a mile. Have a look at the amount of tyre smoke coming. I have to bring this car in.
That's Fabian Coulthard dropping the right rear off at turn 5.
You're about to see some rallycross.
Whoa. Not supposed to throw rocks.
Family weekend.
Yeah, family weekend. Look at that. And Craig Baird and I went round the track early in the week, and there was a starting box, which is the critical thing that the judges, in fact, would look at in those instances.
Oh.
And that's Zane Goddard on the triple jump on the outside of turn 7.
They're being punished because they're on not their best rubber, and they're going to hang out there. This is going to be great.
Oh, and that was a touch-up, and it sent Gary Jacobs and Bryce forward, thanks, Larko, and Jake Kostecki's getting the same sort of treatment from Tim Slade that rotates him. So that's no good. About to get, oh, here's the replay. We'll come back to that. So watch what happens here. Bryce gives Gary a bit of a touch-up, and it sends him, and then Tim Slade does much the same to Jake Kostecki, and around he goes. Now, invariably, I think Tim might wear that one in terms of penalty.
Nice save by Jacobson. Good car control to get away with that one.
Bryce might even get a penalty for that, because it might be deemed to be a bump and run.
Pit lane, but this is a little bump there, but Jacobson and Mark Winterbottom, and that was probably a little bit heavy, actually. And as Courtney tried to capitalise on them flicking to the left, he did the change of direction and fired back down.
That's right on the money. Anytime you see a 3 in front of the number. Oh, more troubles down here at turn 2, and that's Gary Jacobson.
He's been mauled down there, hasn't he? He got pushed wide just before. He's just been arrowed wide on that occasion.
That's what happened down at turn 2. So, okay, so it was Scott departing the pit lane, and Gary on the outside of him. And they've locked horns down there, and that's resulted in Jacobson just running wide.
But these guys are caught up in a battle, and down the inside again he goes. And he's on the wrong side now, Van Gisbergen.
That's another touch. So this is just starting to get it. Oh, and he's off the road. This is starting to get silly. And I can guarantee you that Roland Dane will be texting from Queensland into that bunker. He will not be happy seeing these two guys doing this at the moment.
Well, they're slowing each other up. He's running right off the road this time.
This is going to end up in tears if it continues.
He's going to hang him. He's hanging wide. Yep.
He's getting run off the track.
Unfolded there is if Shane had flicked the wrong way, once it's on the dirt, it could go anywhere. Right here, so at turn 3, once he starts the motocross run out here in the dirt, if it turned and fell down the curb, went the other way, you take them both out. They'd both end up rotating into the left fence.
Or the right fence, but either way. So then the crisscross, so then he fires around the outside. Now watch how far Jamie escorts him off the road. Jamie's nowhere near the apex. He runs him right out.
He's going to be told again now, mate.
Keeping him out of the wall, and you can just see wide on entry, too much water on the surface, and then across the gravel trap, and arrests him.
Beautiful camera work. Well done, Rossi's been on that the whole time. He had that car in the centre of screen the whole way. And in fact, the Shell V-Power cars were able to hold off Van Gisbergen with the hard tyres. A nice job by the Shell Mustangs. Off the road goes Reynolds,
who's on the softer tyre. So much fresh air, he can just take the racing line. Here's what happened at turn 3 on that opening lap, where David ran very wide. I don't think he got a hand there. I think he might have done it on his own. I'm not 100% sure actually when he hit that angle. I'll revise that. I think Gary might have given him a helping hand, Gary Jacobson. Whoa. Yeah, no space out there.
and he's about to get a little jostle from the inside. That's Gary Jacobson. Bang. Gee, he was close to hitting that tyre wall on the left-hand side. Gardner, Van Gisbergen, Hazelwood, Percat, Slade, Whincup, Mostert, who's come up. Bang! In the fence hard there. That's at turn 1 for Whincup. Off the road by a long way.
You okay? You okay?
Top gear, can't see. Ooh, almost drilled the back of Di Pasquale. And this is the challenge. The gravel's done a fine job. And so are those safety barriers down there, which there's a bit of science in the way they're constructed. And he's got the brake clamped, but it's doing absolutely nothing as he tours the wilderness on the outside of turn 1. Now that would be the best part of 230, 40, 50 kilometres an hour as he flew off down there. Mark, you had a very nasty moment that was a big bell ringer down there years ago, and it's a pretty frightening thing. And look, just no chance of turning
worse.
It has. It's yeah. This is one.
Hazelwood off also
big time. This is one of the periods where they talked about, and he's going to slam the wall down there like Whincup did. Moderate rain coming through from time to time, so pretty hefty impact. That one was a little bit more in the right front corner. Probably bent a steering arm.
You get out, I think. If he just keeps gently on the throttle.
Good job.
Yeah, nice job.
Just be careful on your rejoin.
Oh, off the road, Bryce Fullwood. And is that a catch?
He's back on, he's right, yeah. The outside of the road weirdly has more grip as Jake Kosecki goes off at turn 1 also. He doesn't make the fence, so that's good news for him.
And this is exclusively for the co-drivers. And, oh, big drama here. Unfortunately, car number 96 has smacked the wall at the top of the hill, and that is all bad news. So Chris Pither has triggered a red flag right at the back end of the session. It's ended up with Lee Holdsworth at the top of the charts there on a 2-minute 5.2. Here's the replay again. Have a look and a listen. That's heavy compact, so... Giving that wall a fair shake. So big impact with the concrete wall. It does not move. Listen. Bottom's in that car at the moment. Here's the replay. Oh, that's a monstrous lock-up. So he's sending a lot of Morse code signals to the universe, trying to get it out of the gravel down there. Was that it's very loose and he needs to calm it down. The car's too wild to drive. And there's a little bit of a moment for the super cheap car down there at turn 1.
Safe fence.
Did he get it?
Oh, did he get it?
Pretty damn close. So it was Russell at the helm of that car. Just a reminder, if you've only just sat down in front of the telly and you want to know who's doing what and who's in the car, when you see the green light illuminated in behind the screen, that's the co-driver in the car. And so therefore that was Russell in. And so he just locked a brake and run wide and snow plowed right up to the edge of the fence. Didn't quite get it, thankfully. This is the view. And that's very easily done there. You've got to wait until those front tyres are fully settled and fully weighted before you get maximum brake pressure on down there, which is the equivalent about of 110 kilo leg press, 850 odd degrees.
Stop planned, and what did you think? Well, hang on, we're going to have to come back. We've got an incident here.
We've got a drama here for car number 44. Thomas Randall is deeply buried in the Boost Mobile Mustang, well in the beach. He's the trouble down at turn 1, and he's well buried in there, Thomas Randall. What a great frustration for him. So this is what happened, the aftermath. We didn't see exactly, but I presume he's just outbraked his run into turn 1. So a couple of their cars are battling down at turn 1 because Zach Best was having some troubles getting pulled up down there at turn 1. Here's the view from the other angle. Just locked up wide and head first into the fence.
It's got a lot of brake on that car. It looked like
Chris Pither at the helm at that stage. Let's have a look at the replay here. This is a lively part of the racetrack, and particularly if you happen to be Jonathan Webb at the moment. Car number 19, the local Legends entry, didn't look like him. We've got a safety car.
Scrambles.
There's a safety car. Oh, and what an Australian reason for a safety car. There's an echidna on the edge of the racetrack, which we've got to look after. We've seen kangaroos, horses, trees and water. And it's caught, by the way. Oh my goodness, this is the replay of the echidna at the cutting, and Macaulay Jones
well done.
it. What a great presence of mind, and also Kostecki in 34. Wow.
Whoa.
Seeker out there. And here comes Brodie once again, bombs down the inside, and does he get it done? He does. A bit of hip and shoulder. They lock horns. That was a nasty moment. Percat takes advantage of that as well. That could have put some damage on the 99.
Kostecki was the one around the outside of Percat, and he got it done. And then have a look at the contact here. This is savage. Big moment there.
I'd be surprised if that hasn't hurt the toe on the right rear corner of Brodie's car.
Sure. Watch the steering impact. Watch this. Bang! Oh, he took it out of his hands.
He yanked it out of his hand. It's
actually the race, both of them.
More trouble. This will be another safety car. The Toyota Gazoo Racing S's on the run to the Dipper. And we're going to see another safety car. So it's the same old deal as we get later in the race. People get tired, mistakes are made. And when the field's bunched up after the safety car, there's typically more action. Actually leading the race from Mark Winterbottom. The reason for the safety car is that we ended up with a car in the concrete wall here. Unfortunately for young Jaden Ojeda, he's made very solid contact with that wall. He does not give 1 millimetre, and that's done pretty substantial damage to that car. And that will have a lot of front left and left rear suspension damage on that car. Now, under investigation, as I suspected, based on my interpretation of the pit release rules.
So one of the important things that happened, other than that contact getting out, and is that unsafe? I don't know how they're going to assess that one. It's Whincup and Davison, two really close mates, make contact.
Bryce Fullwood's quick out there at the moment too, Mark. He's in 7th position. He's just, another car from Matt Stone Racing in the wall. This time we're at Forest Elbow. Up once more. The reason for this, in the background you'll see the Matt Stone Racing entry car number 34 of Kostecki in the wall. Now, did he get some helping hand, or did he do it on his own? And I think they had some clutch troubles with that car as well, I heard in the background. And he was ultimately able to get it into reverse and get it out of there, so, which was good news. And then they left him out for a lap, brought it back in, and then started to cut the dead bits off this car. And this was the good news part of the story. Able to get it away to the cheers of the crowd in the background and get him underway. When he first got rolling, though, it made a huge amount of smoke. We're a bit worried that it was going to pop a tyre, because the back of he'll flick his eyes into the mirror and just have a peep to understand where Van Gisbergen in. Off the road for Brock Feeney. And this is going to be another safety car. They bunch up once more, and what an end. What an end to a great campaign for Brock Feeney. What a disappointment. Oh, my goodness me.
Tough luck, mate. You did an awesome job. Yeah, man.
Wow, that is a sad end to a great campaign for a young man with a huge future. Super 3 champion, Super 2 champion. Vast experience at a young age. That'll be heartbreaking for his dad, Paul, his mum, Sue. Back into the medical car, and let's understand what happened. We'll have a look on the replay. He's got wide. He's in the marbles on the exit of Reed Park. He's whacked the wall. It's busted the right front. And then that is solid contact. And it was lucky that Hazelwood was able to jink around to the left and avoid that. And then there's no stopping the thing. It's gone straight into the beach at McPhillamy. Game over.
But it was what you were saying earlier about that debris on the outside. As soon as you got out of the groove, out of that high grip area of the racing line, it is like ice on the outside. Check this out. He's just only a half a car width too wide there. The loaded wheels are in the grey. They're out there in the Greg Murphy shingle, and it's over and out.
Gravel Trap did exactly what it's designed to do there. Back under the control of the BP Ultimate safety car.
On board, bang! And that was a big understeer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When he got wide, he just had no way of keeping it to the left.
So a couple of factors there. Tyres have cooled out and pressured down ever so slightly, and he was offline. So it didn't grip up like he expected it to. The minute you're a couple of millimetres wide, thump. And that was a biggie. That was much like the Hazelwood shunt from a couple of years ago that we had in our track highlights early in the day as well. And then it's gone straight down parallel with the fence and straight into the gravel trap at the Pertec McPhillamy area. And fortunately, it's done the exact right job down there. So he's heartbroken. Is that a flat spot or something I can hear in the background with that thing?
Right front. Have a look at it. He's got no pace. He's gone. It looks like it's deflating. And he's had to move out of the way. Cam Waters goes around the outside, up under the tree.
This brings Waters up into P2, just as it was last year.
And can he get across here? These are all hard corners. Oh, Kostecki! Now he's wide. Oh, my God, that was so close.
Slaps the wall, rounding up Van Gisbergen, who's limping home. Did that bruise car 99? He's got to be super careful, Van Gisbergen. He tries to stay out of everybody's way. He's limping down to the pits. He's off the podium, the reigning champion of this race and the newly crowned Supercars champion of 2021. Percat is about to round him up as well. They've hurt the tyres on that car. They're standing by at Red Bull. And Shane Van Gisbergen out of business in the Repco Bathurst 1000 of 2021. Heartbreak for Garth Tander after throwing everything at this race again.
Unbelievable. If this isn't the cruelest sport some days, my God, that is so unfair.
How about Brodie rounding up on the outside and slapping that right rear on the concrete wall? Now, has that done any damage to that car? Check this out on the replay. Shane's limping. He's got to go out in the grey to get it done, Brodie, and then it sits up on the curb. Whack. It was just a glimpse. He's only just mildly slapped it, but you do not want any right rear suspension damage or rim damage at this point in the day.
I reckon it's the bottom of the wheel that actually gets it, isn't it?
Ooh, yeah.
It's the bottom of the wheel that grabs it. Have a listen. Oh, he hit pretty hard, actually.
It's a street race. There's concrete, there's bitumen, there's paint, there's grates. Risk and reward. We love street racing for that reason. But this is the one that blows me away. I think we've done 9 or 10 races here without a safety car. There's been one, actually, in 2020. So I'd love to see one of those beautiful big palm leaves or an umbrella blow onto the circuit and roll a safety car. That would be good. But you know what it's really going to be?
Time.
You lost your hat.
Yeah. It's handy to...
It's sunny out there.
That's actually quite a decent trick.
What?
Handy to have up there at this time of the year because there's plenty of sun around. There's a point that you were making before, Mark.
Hats off to you, mate. Well done.
You had to think about that, didn't you?
No, I did.